What's going on, guys? It's Jeff for MadHattersReef.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at selecting saltwater fish for beginners. If this is your first time being here, this is where I talk about everything saltwater aquarium related. So if you love saltwater aquariums like I do, or are just starting off in the hobby, hit that subscribe button. Every week I'm putting out a new video that helps people be more successful with saltwater aquariums.
All right, guys, so let's jump right into it. Selecting saltwater fish for beginners. Originally, this content was going to be a course on MadHattersReef.com. But instead of doing that, I decided to give it to you guys for absolutely nothing here on YouTube. So the price of admission for today is hitting that subscribe button if you're brand new to the channel, or hitting that like button. Now, this isn't the only way to add fish to an aquarium, but this is a system that I've developed over the years that has helped me be tremendously more successful. And there's going to be some content available to you in the description below. It's going to take you to MadHattersReef.com, and it's going to piggyback on some of the things that we're going to talk about today. And there's going to be some free stuff for you there as well. So check that out if you are interested in diving in a little deeper. So let's kick the tires and light the fires.
So who am I? My name is Jeff Hesketh, and I'm the guy that's behind Mad Hatters Reef and the Saltwater Aquarium radio podcast. And the goal of these ventures is to create useful content about setting up and maintaining saltwater aquariums, and mainly to help people be successful. I've been in the hobby, at least the saltwater side of things, for the last 10 years, but I've had aquariums since I was a boy. Now, I currently have about 1,000 gallons of saltwater aquarium systems in my home, and they range from the 260-gallon build that I'm working on right now all the way down to a 5-gallon nano reef tank. And lastly, I want you to have a successful saltwater aquarium. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I've done everything that I have up to this point. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about the process that I use to stock my saltwater aquariums. And we're going to start that by making a fish wish list. Now, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be an Excel sheet. It could be a scrap piece of paper. Basically just a way to take notes on fish that you want to keep in your saltwater aquarium. Now, there's a few things that we need to consider when we're putting this wish list together. One being the aquarium size. How big does the aquarium need to be? How many fish are we going to be putting in it? How big do the fish get at adult size? We also have to take in consideration the habitat requirements. Does it need open spaces? Does it need a lot of rock work? Some fish have certain requirements on sand and how much is in the tank. What is the care level of the fish? Is it easy? Is it hard to keep? Is it a moderate fish? We also, very importantly, need to consider the temperament and compatibility with its tank mates. Are we putting two fish together that shouldn't be together? Are they part of the food chain? Is a clownfish food for a puffer? What its diet is also something that's very important. What does it eat? Because if it eats invertebrates, it's going to eat up your cleaning crew or your cleaner shrimp or whatever type of invertebrates you have in the tank. Is the fish reef safe? Is it going to eat corals when you put it in the tank? If you have an established reef aquarium, you put a fish that's going to pick on corals, you're going to be pretty upset. And lastly, is the fish invertebrate safe? I know if I bought a cleaner shrimp, brought it home, and put it in the tank and the fish ate it, I'd be pretty upset. And then we're going to take our fish wish list and turn it into a stocking plan for our saltwater aquarium. So here is an example of a fish wish list. And on the upper left-hand corner, we have the fish. Then we go into adult size, the tank size, the temperament, diet, if it's reef safe, if it's invertebrate safe, and the care level of the fish. Once you had this information, you can make an assessment as to what size tank you would want to have, depending on the fish that you want to keep. Now, that's the ideal situation. That always doesn't work out that way. You might already have a tank. Let's say you have a 75-gallon tank. You already bought all the equipment. Now it's time to figure out what you want to put in there for fish. Using your fish wish list, you're going to come up with a list of fish that are going to work for the size tank that you have. So starting things off, you're going to be able to have a clownfish. Clownfish are pretty easy to keep. A neon dottyback, a cardinal fish, a flame angel. And we know because of our research that we've done when we're putting our wish list together that it's possible that it might not be reef safe. And lastly, the fathead anthias. Some of the fish that we weren't able to get into the 75-gallon was the powder blue tang, as well as the butterfly fish, mainly due to the fact that it's not invert safe and or reef safe. And lastly, we were not able to get the clown triggerfish in the 75-gallon. When you sit back and look at what works and what doesn't work, it makes pretty good sense. I mean, it's a 75-gallon aquarium. You're not going to be able to get more than 6 or 7 fish in that tank. And to try to put a powder blue tang in there, or a butterfly fish, or a trigger fish is just unacceptable. And let's say you really want to have that powder blue tang. So you have it in the budget to be able to increase the size of your tank. So you're going to go from a 75-gallon to 150-gallon. You made some deals and you made it happen. We already know what we can put in there, but we were able to increase the amount of those fish that we had. So we got a pair of clownfish, we have 4 cardinal fish, and we have a little school of anthias now that we can put in that tank. So we have a lot more tank to work with. We can increase the bio load without stressing out the tank. But now we can get that powder blue in the tank. And it's going to have plenty of room to swim. We actually went above what the minimum tank size was for it. So it's going to be a happy tang, and a happy tang is a healthy tang. That still leaves the butterfly fish and the triggerfish on the chopping block, so to speak. And those two fish are very different fish, and they belong in different systems. The butterfly fish should be in a fish-only system, and the triggerfish really belongs in a predator tank. So now we're going to take our fish wish list and turn it into a stocking plan. And we figured out what we can have in the tank. And we're going to take our stocking plan, and really what that's based on is temperament, peaceful to aggressive, and size, smallest to largest. And it's real important to keep in mind that temperament trumps size. Just because it's a little fish doesn't mean that it's a good neighbor, and it may pick on other fish, especially if it becomes established in the tank first. And that's even more important in a smaller aquarium because there's not going to be a lot of room for the fish to live in. So after that's done, we're going to take our fish wish list and turn it into a stocking plan. So we're going to take the most peaceful fish and work our way up to the most aggressive fish. And while we're doing this, we want to keep in mind the size factor, how big the fish is when we receive it, and how big is it going to get in the tank as it grows up. So based off our research, we found that the anthias is the first one that needs to go in the tank. So that group of 1 male and 3 females is going in the tank first. And how we would go about ordering and receiving these fish is we're going to receive them, put them into quarantine them for about 30 days, then put them into the display tank. And once that fish hits the display tank, we then receive our next order of fish, put them into quarantine, and just have like a cycle going. So once they come out of quarantine, they go in the display tank, then new fish go into the quarantine system. But we'll get into that in a little bit more detail in some upcoming videos. And we would start with the anthias and work our way down to the powder blue tang. And really, to add these 13 to 12 fish would be over a 6-month period. And like it says at the bottom, there's always exceptions to the rule. Blue tangs, powder blues not so much, but blue tangs are starting to be tank raised. And you might receive one as big as a quarter now. And it might not be fair to put that in the tank after you have an angelfish that is already in the tank and well established. So final thoughts on selecting fish for your saltwater aquarium. And we're going to talk about dogs. It's very common practice when somebody is selecting a puppy or a dog that they're trying to find the right breed for them. Often they're looking at the size of the breed, how big it grows when it's full grown, the temperament of the breed, how they act or interact with children. They're looking at the care level of the dog. And they're also taking in consideration the activity level of the dog. People spend countless hours researching, trying to find the right dog for them. And this isn't really something that's practiced in the aquarium hobby. Far too often people are going to stores and they're just seeing a fish that they like and they buy it, having no idea what the care level of that fish is or what it needs to exist. So my hope is that you take what we talked about today and put it to work for you. And I'd be willing to bet if you take the fish wish list and turn it into a stocking plan that you are going to be much more successful in this hobby.
All right, guys, so that's a wrap on selecting saltwater fish for beginners. In some upcoming videos, we're going to be taking a look at fish acclimation as well as fish quarantine. So if you're new to the channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. I've linked to an article that I've written on madhattersreef.com, and if you visit that link, it will bring you to a page that has the fish wish list. So if you want to download that and use it for yourself, it's there for you and it's absolutely free, no charge.
Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up. And if you want to check this shirt out, which is only available until next Sunday, there is a link down in the description below. That's going to do it for today. I'll see you guys next time right here with a brand new video.